Hey everybody, in this episode of the GH Report, Port Charles' new dynamic duo, Jason and Curtis, are on the case. Nell's got a rattle, and hey, look everybody, Felicia made it back into an episode. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes. There you go. Look at that. When you hear that song, it can only mean one thing. It is the GH Report right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Welcome, everybody. We'll be breaking down the week that was there in Port Charles. As you notice, there's only two of us here, rounding out the last show of the GH Report for 2016. But we're going to send you out in style while James Ladd Jr. is shivering in the cold weather somewhere back east. Oh, my word. Oh,
better. He's in Pittsburgh, I think.
Yes.
Oh, all I know is that he just keeps posting that he's cold. So, better him than me. Although it's not really that much warmer out here.
Yeah, it's pretty cold for LA. Like, what was it, 40 today? We don't know
it was
what that
48
is.
last night, and then like 45 in the early morning today.
How are we supposed to survive?
This is California. I did not sign up for cold.
No.
Yeah, I was wearing Uggs earlier.
Yeah,
That's how cold it was.
Oh, man.
God.
Anyway, though, I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me at Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
And I'm Lacretia Lyon, guys, so you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one.
And James Ladd Jr. Lucretia said he saw him in the chat. So,
Yes.
Feel free to chime away. James, let us know that you're doing well, you're staying warm, maybe drinking a lot of Hokoko there in Pittsburgh. In the meantime, though, folks, you know what you can do? You can also hop in that chat room, too. Look at that. We'd love to have you guys interacting with us during the course of the show about this week episodes in Port Charles or just the show in general. Well, you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can give us those 5 stars on iTunes, and you can like us on Facebook. You know, Santa's coming, and I guess he likes to bring likes. So, you know, gosh, we're only hundreds and hundreds away from 2,000 likes on our Facebook page. But come on. Why not be like Santa and just give us a little like under our Facebook Christmas tree this year on the GH Report?
Yeah, I mean, if you ever heard of a Christmas miracle, that would be one of them, right?
That's true. Because, you know, if James Ladd Jr. has not stressed it enough, I mean, 2,000 likes, that's a pretty sweet prize coming your way to the fan who gets us to 2,000 likes. So, boy, oh boy, I mean, just like a dream date with James Ladd Jr., I mean, just wine and dine, you know, get to live the James Ladd Jr. lifestyle for a day. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, I think that's totally the gift.
I will use this time away, the time of James Ladd Jr. away to really promise him up in
Yes.
for this title. You know, James Ladd Jr. He'll draw you a picture. He'll make you a sculpture. He'll cook you dinner. Really promise a lot of stuff that James Ladd Jr. will do. But anyway, folks, as we get ready to wrap up this last episode, now it's only 4 days this week because of President Obama's speech on Friday. They decided to preempt the episodes, which I guess works in favor because next week we'll be able to get 5 days of GH as opposed to 4 days and one of the kind of Christmas holiday season repeats that they tend to do. So now we've got 5 full episodes, and Thursday, that show that was going to air on Thursday, now air on Friday of this coming week, will be a nice Christmas Eve episode, so it'll sink in very nicely.
Yeah, get you ready for the holidays, and then you'll be missing us for a few weeks.
Oh, no, look at that. But we'll be back in January. Boy, just ready to rant and hopefully rave. Hopefully rave. We'd love nothing more than a rave about the show. Well, and speaking of that, maybe we'll just jump right into it and see if there is something that we are raving about. I can tell by Lacretia's face that there may not be much that she's raving about, but we'll see. Why don't we start off with the storyline? We'll just get right into it, you know, because I know the fans... love how much that we enjoy Todd and Liz together. I mean, gosh, Todd, I keep calling him Todd. Nah, it's Franco.
Franco.
Okay, I'm sorry. Franco and Liz.
I actually like them together, and I thought Franco's present was really sweet and thoughtful.
Oh, come on. You would.
Yeah, that guy
you
in
would.
a cage. Yep, yep, Tom in a cage. That is sweet.
This is bonkers to me. Like how Franco made this leap in logic that this was the right thing to do in this case. Not kill him, not do anything like that, but let's put him in a cage and make him wear like a little shock collar. This was the smart thing to do. I can't like how put your well all right. I can't say put yourself in Liz's shoes because like Chris said, I would love him even more. If he told me that. But how does he expect Liz to react when she finds out about this? Like, oh, you put him in a cage for me.
Yeah, see, Liz is a different kind of woman than me.
She's not
you
as
know,
worldly.
she's not really into big gestures. I was a child of romantic comedies and loved How I Met Your Mother. So, you know, this is his blue French horn.
All right, yeah.
No.
This is just so I don't know. It's like it's moments like that that make me feel like, do they even want Franco to actually have a relationship that goes any sort of length and distance?
Yeah, it seems like they've regressed him. That's my only frustration. Although, while dark as it may be, this guy is a bad person. So Franco's really just like Dexter, who was a hero in the story of his, own serial killing for the greater good. They have to be a really bad person. So as long as you got a code, I think it's all right.
Yeah, but I guess like the thing is, well, and who knows what Franco's end game is, but Dexter, he would find people that are really bad, really atrocious, and then he'd kill them and they were just gone.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about them. But if the idea is now he's not going to kill him, but just keep him in this cage, and then at some point when he feels that he's rehabilitated enough, he'll let him go. Does he not expect the first call to be to the police to say, hey, guess what? I've been locked in a cage for X amount of time and shocked repeatedly with a dog collar. So please arrest this man.
Yeah, well, if they don't have any evidence, though, I mean, it's just this crazy guy against this other crazy guy. And, as long as Franco's like, well, like Liz has been by the studio, Kiki's been by the studio, they never saw any of that. And I did like that Kiki was involved.
Yeah, oh, man. But, I mean, well, because she did not know the dog cage was coming.
Yeah, she was like, don't do anything, too bad. Like, what did you think?
As much as I like Kiki, I got to believe that she would not be co-signing shot collar and dog cage. I just don't think so.
I don't know. If she did, I would like her a lot more. Like she then totally fits with her weird family that is now Franco, Nina, Ava. She would really fit in more with the family.
I feel like this is just really set the pedestal for any future man in your life to really kind of top. Like, are you willing to put a man in a cage for me and shock him? Are you willing to do that for me?
Yeah.
Otherwise, no. Keep walking. Yeah. All right. Over under 2 more weeks of this, of him in the cage.
I think it'll be done by next week. I guess the Christmas miracle is if Tom will get out.
Yeah, I don't. Because, all right, so he gets out, and then I assume he's going to call the cops on Franco. So we have to have that kind of drama with the cops and Franco. The show makes me question sometimes their choices of what they want to do with Franco and relationships, or just even relationships in general, where they seem to have, like Kiki and Dylan, like two people that have chemistry in Kiki and Dylan's place that just have obvious chemistry, and yet the show will just do so much to just kind of roadblock that, like way past the time of like, yeah, this should be happening. We kind of, you've teased us, you teased us. Okay, we should do it, but GH still keeps going and going and going, and then with Franco, it just seems like there's just no way that he's going to be in any sort of relationship that you could feel like, yeah, we could see Franco getting married at some point, actually settling down.
It's just like every time you think Lulu's not going to be annoying about babies. There's just so many characters now that just keep doing the same dance, and you're just like, why are you doing this? I really like Michael B's comment. They are really making Franco and Liz boring. Who cares about the Tom? Just kill him and let's move on. I like this guy's thinking. Yeah, just kill him, let's move on.
Because I don't know. I mean, certainly murderous Franco. I mean, I guess you knew what you were getting there. This weird kind of, like, I'm going to do something, but I'm not going to be like the murderous guy I used to be kind of Franco. I don't know. I certainly don't enjoy this one more, because I'd feel like, what's the point of like Franco, but with like a defanged Franco is not a fun Franco.
Yeah, Shan B talks about they want Liz to soften him some, but he does need to keep his edge. And that's why if he had just threatened Tom and that worked, but I do get that he kept popping up after that and then popped up with Kiki, who's the other woman that Franco cares much about in a fatherly way. So I think the Kiki thing set him over the edge, but if we just had this moment of, hey, wait, this is wrong, I've gone a little crazy, it might be okay at that point, because he hasn't killed him or maimed him too much. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Just treat him like a little doggy with a shot collar. Oh, boy.
Yeah, Mel is like, cage bad, murder good.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Another duo that we've been talking about this week, I guess, let's jump right into it, because you mentioned it. We got Lulu. Yeah. Talking about baby. The big whole thing here is, like, of course, last week we had the excitement at the doctor's office there, finding out that information, and now it starts kind of unraveling exactly what happened with the embryo of Lulu's. What we thought was Stavros Turns out that the actual father for that was Valentine, because Stavros was impotent.
Which makes sense, especially because Stavro had moved up in age after Nicholas and things like that. So I do see how they made that leap, and that Valentine probably was, the only other viable option they were looking for. So that makes total sense. I will say I want to give him props for at least making that make sense. The biggest thing, though, is Lulu's still nuts, and it's just like, what are we doing with this character?
Yeah, just for my one quibble, and I don't know if this resonates or it's me just being whatever, but with Valentine, for as much as Helena hates any of the bastard children of the Cassidine family tree there, so though Stavros is, turns out that he's not going to be able to father his own child, why, as much as Helena hates every other bastard child, that she would go and get Valentine's DNA for this? That I don't understand.
Well, I feel that this was still Helena screwing with the Spencers, so at that point, Valentine being a bastard child was not really relevant. It was just, it's about hurting Lulu more than it is caring, so I can see that. And oftentimes in this hurting Lulu stuff, who's not on Helena's side at this point? It's like, Emmy is such a good actress. Why can't we have better stuff for her? Yeah.
I'm assuming that we have finally the absolute conclusive proof now that of these DNA tests. It only took multiple DNA tests, but now we've done 2 blind tests from 2 different labs. No way we can know who's who, or nobody's going to be able to tamper with these. So it is finally confirmation that it is Lulu and Valentine.
Well, the chat seems to think that may not be final, with Emily Ryland being pregnant in real life now, and they're going to have to write that in. They may just go ahead and give Lulu her miracle baby and make Charlotte someone else's. Shan B's like, now that the Lulu actress is pregnant, I don't think Charlotte will be hers. Seemed too easy. Poor kid will be on her 3rd mom soon.
Oh, man. It's, and she, of course, being a Spencer, she just was all excited for it. She did at least give a little acknowledgement to Dante, just like, are you with me on this? Are you with me? I don't know. It didn't really feel like, I think Dante could have, whatever Dante said, she would not have probably heard it and just like, okay, great, thanks. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is she's not considering anyone else but herself, and it's just like, especially like Rocco and how this fits in. I know that we're supposed to think Valentine is not that good on sometimes, but at least he's like, hey, like, Rocco, like, let him hang out, like, trying to be good, and even Lulu's like, until she realized for sure that was her kid. And now it's like, oh, I'm taking it away. We're going to screw up this kid even more, who only knows Valentine, really.
Very true.
And I'm just surprised that Laura didn't sort of talk Lulu down a little bit more. There was some of that acknowledgement to thinking of everyone, but that girl's on the ledge of insanity there.
And I wonder if because we've had the discussion about the writers and how they are changing ideas in midstream, or just writing to not even know exactly sure where they're going. They're just going to keep writing until some idea clicks and they decide to follow that. With Valentine, though, like, as he's been on it, and he's been kind of making those like subtle comments, or this like the, I don't want to say subtle comments, but just making asides, 2 different characters like Laura, like, we've got a family connection and stuff. The way James Patrick Stewart, when are the writers telling him what the long-term plan is with this? Because some of his line deliveries make him seem like such an ass when he's doing these lines, and then now all of a sudden we're supposed to be like, oh, I had Charlotte's best interest at heart, and I was just trying to find the right time, like. Not the way you were acting before this kind of whole thing got revealed.
Yeah, that's the thing, is once Charlotte was revealed to be his and not Griffin's, they changed the character, and it was very obvious shift, because now he is still devilishly charming, but he's likable, like Lucifer, the Fox show. You're like, well, he's Satan, but you still hang out with that guy. Because he has these good qualities, and he at least seems to be wanting to do right by this kid, putting her in things, wanting her to be around someone like Nina, and the way he talks to Nina is very likable. Yeah.
Like when Nina does, when finally Nina hears from Maxie what the deal is in the real paternity of Charlotte. Like Nina, not subtle at all about what she's. I got a meeting I got to go to. Storming out with her coat and a dress for Charlotte that she's going to give her. But when she shows up at Spoon Island, and I like that Valentine right away, like, you're mad at me. You just tell exactly what the deal was on that.
Yeah, and I like that, she confronts him with the truth, and he's like, yep, and sorry I didn't tell you, but I was trying to put her first. I didn't know how they were going to react. The way that they are with me right now is like, we want to take her away, we want to do this. And you're like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I don't mean, do you think that's the real, are we getting the up and up with him in terms of that, or, because we know he definitely has some other agendas on the table, especially with Anna. How much of the whole Charlotte Spencer's kind of thing is really an angle, or he's just truly that victim of unfortunate circumstance?
Yeah, I don't think he, because I feel like he was genuine, and this is something they kept from the beginning, where he's like, I have no beef with the Spencers. I don't like my family either, and to me, he's not been vindictive to them, because even when they were on the island, I don't think he had anything to do with that, because he seemed surprised by them being there as well, is that was more of Helena. And so they've at least kept that in line, where I don't think he has any ill will, but he doesn't want to be the best friend either.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see where this butting of the heads is going to be, like, who's going to have the real paternity or the real custody of Charlotte. I gotta admit that this storyline not exciting me. I'd rather them just within one episode just decide okay, great, we're gonna make it like this. I don't want to see another courtroom paternity challenge or whatever like that. I don't, just please, let's just agree. If they could do it like with Olivia and Julian, where you thought it was leading up to that, but then they just hashed it out really amicably. I'd be like, oh, that'd be great, fantastic. Let's just move on and see what else we can do.
Yeah, because, again, we've seen that storyline so much. I mean, it wasn't that long before we had the Griffin, Valentine custody of Charlotte. And then we had the Olivia Julian crap. And then we have baby Avery always talking about that. Could we just let that work out?
Yeah.
The custody battles are really annoying. Because
is really the best use of Valentine Cassadine, for as great as James Patrick Stewart is and the story potential he does have, and just how fun of an actor he is to watch, is the best use of him going to be locked up in a courtroom, giving testimony for days and days on end? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really boring. And he's fun. Let's give him something fun to do.
Yeah. Just keep him out of the courtroom. Let's just have him do... I'd rather focus more on what the deal is with him and Anna. See where that leads, than more like, oh boy, Lulu's just on get sole custody of this child, and we
Yeah, because to me, I mean, Anna Devane is just always more interesting. But yeah, let's get this mystery, going, because we actually care. And the Lulu baby drama, we've been bitching about it for 3 years, it seems. So let's move on.
The one thing I did like about that, though, is that she does acknowledge, I have a daughter with the man that I hate most in the world because he killed my brother, but he also gave me a daughter. So it's I do like that she's got to acknowledge that as much as she hates him for what he did to Nicholas, he also brought Charlotte into her life. So it's you can't completely say that, you can't completely hate him as much as he did before.
Yeah, and at least she had one self-aware moment during the week.
And I'm glad, because it's felt like that they're going to drag it out when Laura finds her and Lulu and Dante at the hospital, kind of after they've just found out the results and kind of figuring out what the deal is. And I was like, are you not going to tell Laura right in this moment? Because it felt like she was just oh, well, we're just just talking about stuff. I'm finally, please, thank you. Just, if you're not going to tell your mother, who could obviously clearly relate,
yeah.
Who are you going to tell?
Yeah, and I really liked, because I liked the relationship of Olivia and Dante. At least Olivia was the one to, really talk to him about his feelings, since his wife forgot about that.
Oh, man. It was nice to have a nice Olivia and Dante moment there, because that's, I feel like that we just get very few and far between.
Yeah, and they're probably the best, mother-son duo, because she was actually a good mom.
It's because as much as I do enjoy whenever, especially now with Ned and Dylan when they get in there. But
that's good.
It's definitely a different dynamic, since Tracy, is not always the most loving or demonstrative of parents with either of them growing up. But I feel like more so probably with Dylan than with Ned. She was probably a little bit more the Tracy that we think of now. I think with Ned, a little bit more of the just cold, kind of ruthless, kind of Quartermaine.
Yeah, and I would agree. Tracy, I guess, is a great mom because, too, you do see like how well her sons turned out, and we see this bitterness from Tracy, but they have this great rapport now, especially as adults. That her relationship with her sons, much like Olivia and Dante, is really close, and they can have these chats. They're just a little bit different. Yeah.
Speaking of, if we're talking about Tracy and her paternal moments, why don't we jump over to Tracy, Hayden, and Finn?
Yeah.
So Hayden really, as Finn says, the difference between him and Hayden is that Hayden was exposed, much like his deceased wife, to a concentrated dose of this infection. So she has much less time than probably Finn does, because it's going to be ravaging her system at a much rapider pace. So she starts actually kind of hallucinating at points, Hayden does, while she's bedridden at the Quartermaine mansion, and imagines Finn as her father and Tracy as her mom.
I really liked the Tracy moment.
Yes.
Because this is Tracy freaking Quartermaine, who at first hated Hayden, and is still kind of only warmed up to her because of Finn. But to do that for another person has just shown how much Tracy's heart grew.
Yeah, because I felt like, I don't know if she hated Hayden when she first came on, but she's definitely felt like she had definite leverage on her, and she was not, in her Tracy Quartermaine way, not afraid to just constantly jab that at her. Like, guess what? I got this. But it did seem like she, underneath it, though, she had some sort of kind of connection with Hayden. Yeah, infection, yeah. And then, of course, because I think that's what, I think when Hayden kind of double-crossed her on the Quartermaine stuff, I think that really stung Tracy, because I felt like, as much as she was needling her about her true identity, she did have some affection toward her.
Yeah, Tracy, shows her love in different ways, as we talked about how she is with her son. And I think she was hurt by Hayden's betrayal, because they were sort of like frenemies, rivalry and poking at each other, but they felt like kindred spirits in a lot of ways due to the way that they grew up. And I think that Tracy was hurt that Hayden would betray her when they had so much in common.
Because I feel like there's those people that will use a they'll demonstrate their affection in a sort of like a teasing or needling sort of way, and just know that they feel like they're doing that to somebody that they know can take it, and that's how they'll express their affection towards somebody else. And then, so I feel like that's what Tracy does. And then when all of a sudden somebody kind of took that and then stabbed her in the back with it, that really just like, well, what have you done to me? Come on. I know I give you a hard time, but come on, we were cool, right? Why do you keep this stock from me? What are you doing? But yeah, that scene with Tracy and Hayden, as she was just so quickly willing to assume to playing the role of Hayden's mom, and then you also felt like she was also telling a little bit about how Tracy Quartermaine is, just her backstory as well too. It was a nice moment.
Yeah, I liked that, because it brought up a lot of feelings that Tracy has as a mother and a daughter, and how her family dynamics were. So it was good to see the growth in Tracy in that scene. And the chat seems to agree. A lot of people are saying that was some of the best moments of this week. Shan B is like, that's the only bright spot in this Hayden 6 storyline.
Yeah, it's because what is not turning out to be a bright spot is just this whole damn cure thing is just taking forever. And it feels like, hopefully, that Finn has got this eureka moment now about something, so that it looks like he's going to need Brad's help to try to make this happen. But please, just the sooner the better, because I just want to see what Finn is. Hayden, we've already seen stuff about her without the infection, but I just want to see what Finn's going to be like when he doesn't have this infection as such a boat anchor to his life.
Yeah, I'd like to see, a different side of Finn. Like, maybe more like, doing actual doctor stuff. Like, being more involved in the hospital. Like, he could maybe be bros with Griffin or something. But yeah, let's either see this cute little romance with Hayden blossom after the cure, or get him more work stuff. Yeah.
And I did like that Tracy just pretty much just like, get out and find a cure. Just why are you sitting around this bed? Don't get out. Get out.
Yeah, I like she put a fire under his butt, because I think we're all saying the same thing, like, seriously. And at least if we can't have Robin, Brad coming in is still like, yeah, we're utilizing people that we like and like to see.
No, but hey, how about Lucas, guys? Remember him? Remember he works at that hospital too? That wouldn't be great to see him.
Yeah, I assume that at this point it has to be Ryan Carnes doing like literally everything else. He's working on a ton of independent films, not here, because as much as we bitch about it, I think if they could, they'd get him.
No, that's
Yeah.
true. Certainly at this point, it just seems odd to not
Yeah.
at least have him pop up for even a day.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
They need to work that out.
So but you know what? Just for us fans, just to believe that he's still around, even though we're not seeing him. Why isn't there just a page in the hospital every occasion like that?
Yeah.
Dr. Jones to so we're like, all right, he's still around even if we're not seeing him, guys. You could throw
Yeah.
that in, can't you? For our other crime-fighting duo, though, as we're talking about our other duo, specifically the crime-fighting variety, we've got Jason and Curtis.
It's funny. Curtis saved Jason and Sam. You know, this is actually entertaining. I like the pawn shop thing, and Curtis is like, well, you don't have to worry about me, but my buddy here, like, and Jason intimidating him. I'm like, this is funny. You know, I like it.
Yeah, it's really. I'm enjoying it tremendously, the dynamic between the two of them. But then I'm also getting like, man, this investigation is taking forever. And what are the cops doing? I guess the cops are doing absolutely nothing about investigating this case because so it's just although Jordan did go and show Julian that here this van that was to Derek Wells Media. Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah, they've forgotten that Dante and Nathan are cops. I know that they're involved in other storylines, but Nathan's really just planning his wedding. We could see him being a cop. Dante with this new baby thing, but that just happened. We could have seen him being a cop before then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, there was the big announcement there on Twitter this week. I know that Lacretia had this information
Yeah.
for a while, but we're expanding the Jerome family with from One Life to Live.
Yeah, Tonya Walker, she originally had played Olivia Jerome before she went on to One Life to Live to play what she's most known for as Alex Olenoff. And Tonya is coming back to play Olivia. I know they said that, they don't have it confirmed, but I have confirmed from her stepdaughter that she is playing.
Because so far, I mean, I guess it's always anytime the soap's going to introduce a character on the canvas and they don't have it cast yet, they will just do like the over-the-shoulder shots and without any dialogue at all. But the way that this has been set up, where she's in the back of the pawn shop, watching all the stuff happening on cameras, it felt like is she like bedridden or what's her deal that she couldn't like?
Because Julian killed her back in the day, and that's what had happened. Is why she was not on the show. Is that Julian supposedly killed his sister. I don't think I was alive at the point that happened. It was the late 80s. So I'm not that familiar with the storyline. But yeah, if anybody else knows, Julian did kill Olivia, and I don't remember how, but that may be it. It's like she's disfigured or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Because the way that this pawn shop owner was going back and tending to her, giving her the information that I've got Jason Morgan's phone number right here. It just like the lack of movement, or at least like even a hand holding the phone number or something like that. It's like she's got something going on with her after coming back from supposed dead, because she's not moving, she's not saying a peep, nothing. All right, cool. I guess we'll see what you got in store. But it'll be nice to just kind of get this revealed finally, to kind of just see how long she's been in Julian's life, kind of trying to make him do things he doesn't want to do, and just how much the extent of what we've seen for the past year of Julian is his own doing, and how much of it has been Olivia just kind of browbeating him.
And two, there's only so much of the Julian stuff you can really forgive if he was being forced to do it, because there's still the whole trying to kill Alexis thing. It's like, that's the one you're not going to be able to get out of.
No, I would think pretty much. I agree. Like pretty much everything else that he's done, you could see like, all right, he was forced to do this. But yeah, I mean, the Alexis stuff, there's just no way. And I don't know if the writers think that they keep writing it, will keep buying it, or eventually it's like, you know what, we're so great together. Let's just do it.
I feel that they are bringing Alexis down to Julian's level, so that we're like, nah, those two deserve each other, is what it seems like to me, the way that they've got this. Because you're just like, how can we root for Alexis after a certain point? Even,
yeah, all right, we got Alexis and Ava in the mixer, and so of course the deal is that she's going to help Julian convalesce, and he won't spill the beans about what really happened. And Ava does finally put two and two together and figure out what's going on. But we've got so many scenes of Alexis with her coffee cup and the little tiny bottles of booze. Oh, and just her mantra as she's like unscrewing it with one hand and then dumping it in and then drinking some of it with the cap still in her mouth. And then Ava grabbing her purse and then the little tiny bottles just spilling out everywhere. I'm like, Oh, that was such a that I was like, what is this scene? What is this?
Yeah, it's just like we're seeing Alexis's downward spiral, and yes, alcoholism is no joke and it affects a lot of people. But this show has had a habit of handling this poorly. So, and this was even Luke Spencer's. The intervention was great, but he still drinks. And if you're going to call Alexis alcoholic, we do need to see her actually go through the program and progress, or it's really going to be sad and really sort of a disservice, just like Kiki's drinking and driving. It's like, guys, these are real problems, and you do have young viewers who can be influenced by this. Yeah.
Now, I mean, that pretty much just, I mean, like the Kiki thing was just like, all right, oh yeah, you're right, maybe I should just stop, and then that was it. That would never, we never heard of it again. Looking back over what we've done with Alexis, specifically focusing on this drinking and adding this alcoholism into her character, how it's been portrayed so far in the show. Do you feel like the progression that it's had from where it started to where it is now, has it built up realistically along the way, or do you feel like they're really shorthanding a lot of stuff and it doesn't seem like a really credible treatment of this issue?
To be honest, her starting out just drinking wine because she's depressed, about losing her job, her husband being a murderer, things like that was great, and they've shown the progression. But now that we're to the point where she's pouring little bottles into her coffee, having them all over the place, this is where it's like we're at rock bottom. I mean, Jack said it himself. So if hitting Julian with the car was not enough consequence, where are they going? Because I feel that something else worse is going to happen. And I sadly think it's going to be Sam's baby that's the victim.
Wow.
Yeah, and because to me, that's the only way we're going to see Alexis get out of it, because it has to be someone actually important to her, not Julian.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a good call. Because then giving Sam that baby then, because we've wondered, like, what's the payoff for at least Jason and Sam with another baby on the way? But if it does end up being something that comes up and Alexis, unfortunately, does something that harms it, then I guess then it does pay off then in the long run for Jason and Sam. I mean, seeing them angst-ridden, I don't know. Whatever it is, I feel like the sooner the better that Alexis kind of reaches whatever this rock bottom's going to be, the better. Just because we need to. I guess that's because they did play the thing with Jason and Sam. They do get the card. They decide, hey, are we going to find out who the baby is? No, we'll just write it down in an envelope and hold on to it for a while.
And then be around Maxie, which
which Maxine Secrets, never any good. But I could see them that envelope just kind of being lost away, and then something tragic happens, and then that envelope is still there, and they read it and they find out what they would have had. Yeah. And then the tears fall even more.
Yeah, and to be honest, that would be a good storyline for them. As much as I hate to see that happen, to me, if hitting Julian with a car and being blackmailed into to help this person you hate so much is not rock bottom enough for you, the only way to salvage the Alexis storyline is to have her do something so horrible and really get help. Yeah.
But if that happens, and so she ends up in some way being the person that is responsible for Sam losing her baby, does that drive like I mean, certainly attempted murder and maybe some kind of unintended, maybe alcoholic-fueled kind of unintended kind of tragedy. Do you feel like those are equal levels? So, like, do you feel like Sam and Alexis could ever get back to some kind of, like, loving mother-daughter kind of relationship if that was the case?
Yeah, although it is pretty hard considering Sam always considered Alexis to be at fault when she lost baby Lila, too. During the whole, fight about giving Christina the stem cells, I think, to save her life at that time. So Sam was that's why she slept with Rick and all these other things, was all that anger towards Alexis after that happened. And they've been there. So I kind of don't want to see them at each other's throats. Obviously, there's going to be some tension, but I think it should be more like Lucky and Luke, as someone brought up in the chat. Like Sawyer Olive is like, yeah, the Luke and Lucky scene after Jake died is still one of the best. Is like, Lucky hated what he did, but he still loved his father. And, that was really the driving force to that great intervention scene. It's just sad that neither one of those things lasted to have that much of an impact right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we, then, of course, we've got, Ava. I do like her just when Jordan shows up and just so over the top. Just, you know, maybe you should like not just, you know, I know I said Sunny, but maybe we should just also be open to the possibilities that could be just like somebody just right underneath our nose the whole time. Like, it made me really think a lot less of Jordan in those scenes.
Yeah.
For as much as I'm always irritated by Jordan, the fact like how much more, you know, unsubtle does Ava have to be to kind of get the idea like, maybe Alexis could be the one that's behind this. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because Jordan, I don't know. It's like, oh, Jordan, come on. Like when I need you to be really smart, you're not, and then when you're supposed to be like on top of it, you're just acting like a dummy. And like, come on, Jordan, get it together.
Yeah, the problem with Jordan is the inconsistency in the character. We love Vanessa and we want to see better stuff for her, but it's the same thing with several other characters on the show. You're like, do you want me to like them? Because the way that you write them, they're either stupid or they're a bitch. And that's really hard to root for with Jordan. And you're like, why? You were such a great, strong woman, had this cool friendship with Anna. You know, what happened to that? Let's go back to that.
Yeah, it's very real because I can't even really think of them any time they had her and Anna. I guess once Anna came back and they kind of, you know, got Julian and stuff under wraps. But Anna and Jordan have had very little interaction since then. Even the Paul Hornsby stuff. After that, yeah, it's been very little interaction with that. So now we've also got we got Maxie, and let's just talk about Felicia. Felicia showed up, everybody.
Yeah, and I know someone pointed out earlier, I forget who it was, and you can remind me later and I'll give you a shout out, of saying the Felicia Maxie scene was way better than the Lulu Laura scene, and it really shouldn't have been, because it really wasn't about Maxie, but it was great to have that scene and that talk about, you know, Georgie, you know, baby Georgie, and how that situation and how Maxie was, like, again, feeling guilty because of what Lulu's going through now and all this. Such a great scene.
Yeah, it's you know, it's just like wonder like why aren't Felicia and Mac just more involved with the show?
Yeah.
Just it's those moments when you see like, yeah, you know, they there's a great sense of history to them, and there is stuff that they can be doing. I still feel like the Felicia not being mayor, it was such a wasted, like why not have her be mayor? That would at least, you know, that would just give her a character some sense of importance, and then easy to drop her in on certain things.
And two, I mean, Anna knew that the election was rigged and all that was thrown away, and that Lomax only stayed because of Paul. Now that Paul is not there, why is Felicia not mayor? Why have we forgotten about that whole thing?
Like, let's just get Lomax out and let's get Felicia in. That would be great. I'd love to see her doing that and kind of getting more involved, like the PCPD and stuff.
And two, they really missed the boat on, say, we had an election year, and maybe using some of those real-world ties to sort of mock, you know, our election and put it in General Hospital with Felicia again. Like, that would have been really funny, you know, and would have been an interesting storyline. It would have been relevant. It didn't have to be Lomax. It could have been somebody else she was running against.
No, that would have been that would have been nice, because it's just I miss seeing those great historical characters. I mean, it's been so fun to see Lucy and Ken Shriner back on the show.
Yeah.
Scotty Baldwin, been so great to see them. Let's get Felicia and Mac more involved too.
Yeah, that's the thing, is we'd rather see these people than hear Lulu say baby one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when was the last time? I mean, it would be great to see a great Mac and Kevin scene.
Yeah, I love that we have Kevin Collins involved with the Laura stuff, so we're actually seeing him. But yeah, you know, he and Mac are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like, well, let's see him at the floating grab, playing some pool, doing something. Just like that was always a nice. That was such a relationship that you did not think was going to really make it, and boy, they just really became so great friends. And it's like, man, that's just a great relationship that just kind of like died on the vine, unfortunately. So then I guess let's just the storyline's really still bugging me. Good old Nell. We're ever so slowly. We got a peek inside of Nell's pad. This boy, she got some nice digs there.
Yeah.
Carly pays pretty well if you're her executive assistant there.
I guess, yeah. And I'm like, how long has she been working? Like, what? Yeah, how is her place that nice?
That was I was like, all right.
Yeah.
But you know, she's got this little metal rattle. She's got a music box. I was really hoping that episode when she came back into her apartment and immediately just takes off all her clothes. It's like she just walked in. I'm gonna get down to my underwear, look at my scar, you know, say something threatening about Carly, and then open up my music box and hold my rattle and have a little cry. I was really hoping that episode we were gonna finally get the answer for why Nell feels this way, and then we didn't. I'm like, come on, guys, you teed everything up.
Yeah, and that's the most frustrating part about this is because I feel we don't have an answer because they haven't decided yet in what we're seeing. And that's really annoying when you don't have an end game. What is this, Lost?
Yeah. Because I mean, unless there's something that we haven't been told or something, I mean, the way the writers are setting it up is that we've got the scar. She was the kidney donor for Jocelyn. But we know that we as the audience know that Carly didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, certainly she's Jocelyn's mother and she's appreciative of it, but she didn't set this up for anything that happened with Nell to happen. She had nothing behind it, and yet Nell seems to be blaming her for everything. And I don't understand. It doesn't seem like that. There's no rationale to make that leap. So I don't know why she is making that leap. That Carly is the reason behind all her misery.
Yeah, unless there is something that we're unaware of at this point, but Carly clearly had no idea about the kidney situation. She thought it was Jake for so long. So there has to be something other than this kidney business that she thinks she should be after Carly for. And a lot of, the prediction last week about her being Reese's kid, but let's face it, that was a really bad storyline anyway. I didn't, it would make sense, but it's kind of odd to bring that up as opposed to say someone like Jerry Jacks, who's a little bit more relevant.
Yeah, and so she has this metal rattle. Do you think it's hers? Do you think that she lost a child somehow that Carly might be responsible for? She believes that Carly is responsible for. I mean, I don't, because she's in her mid-20s somewhere. So, but the whole Jocelyn kidney thing happened 5 years ago?
Yeah, the timelines just don't match because it's you have to go. I mean, it's a long list of people Carly screwed over, so it could really be a lot of people. Because I'm but to think of the timeline, it's honestly, most of that stuff happened in the 90s, and Nell is around Michael's age. So it could have been something that happened before the kidney thing, and then that's sort of how she realized it was the same person, and those were connected. But I think about all she did to AJ, Tony Jones, but I just don't see them making her and Michael related. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, and I really wish that the writers would just figure out what they want to do, because this is just really getting drawn out. Just tell. We've said this for weeks on end. Just tell the audience what the deal is. You don't have to tell the characters, but at least so we know what the deal is.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's I call BS on the fact that they don't know what they're talking about. Although Kelly from PEI says the actress that plays Nell, Chloe Lanier, says the secret is related to the music box. Well, let's hope it's better than the One Life to Live music box storyline.
Man, great. So it has nothing. So this kidney is just So somehow Carly, the person that gives Carly her kidney, Jocelyn her kidney, just also happens to have some other separate reason for also having to hate Carly.
Yeah.
So that just seems so weird that those two things would be so independent of each other and yet all focused towards the same woman. Huh. All right. Great.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is going to be a disappointing revelation. I can't wait. So then, and the other thing I'm getting really tired of too are Nell showing up at Sonny's place and just hanging out and just talking for a while. And I feel like Sonny just please leave. Why are you still at my place?
Yeah, it's just awkward and weird. And why would you do that? Why are you toting Avery around? That's a different job than an assistant too.
Yeah.
I'm that is a nanny job, and I'm sure she has one. So why are you doing it?
Yeah, I mean, and certainly, I guess you want to give special circumstances for Morgan's death. That just kind of threw everything into turmoil. So I can understand, but we've kind of, we've kind of started to move past this, and at least try to move through the grieving process. So to have Nell just constantly kind of skulking around, and she can never just drop something off. Because Sonny, why do you keep inviting her to your home? Why don't you just take the box and say thank you very much, close the door, see you later?
Yeah.
And yet there she comes in. Oh, do you want me to help you put down these decorations? I mean, why else would Carly have sent me if she didn't want me to help you? Oof, I don't know.
Oh God.
So you could secretly record me? It's just
I love Michael B's reason because Nell is cray-cray. Yeah.
Yeah. It's and I feel like even she knows that she's playing a dangerous game with Michael, because when she does get back to her place, why did you go with him? You know that he's a nice guy. What are you doing? I can't see this. Do you want to see a Michael and Nell kind of relationship kind of blossom despite this terrible secret being ready to be revealed at any moment?
Yeah, to be honest, they could be interesting, especially if she is someone going against his family. Because, too, maybe she could let him in on, say, some other stuff his parents did. Like, you know, he knows all the AJ stuff and just seems to forget it, you know, out of sight, out of mind with that dad. But, yeah, like, you know, Michael has gone away from the family before, so I'm hoping they don't make them related, and then Michael becomes Michael Quartermaine again.
Yeah, it's because I don't, but also I don't understand like Nell's endgame. Like, so she blows up this bomb where she finally reveals the recordings that she's been making of Sonny, saying, "Yo, well, Carly will never know that we slept together, and it was just one time. She'll never know our secret." So then that blows up everything. So Sonny, Carly's mad at Sonny. And then how do you explain that to Michael? Like, oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Hey, I still like you though. Can we go hang out? I don't know how she expects that relationship to be salvageable at that point.
Well, I mean, people have done worse. And as I always say, I mean, the greatest couple on this show was based on something horrible. So, you know, I framed your parents, blah, blah, blah. Not that big a deal. Like,
and we start the week though with Jason and Sonny talking because of course when Jason went over to fill him in on what he's been finding out and of course the investigation, Sonny's been really distracted because he keeps just thinking about everything that's been happening with Nell, and so at least he tells Jason. So finally, because I feel like brooding Sonny never that great where we just got to see him just sulking. At least they open up to Jason to kind of at least so somebody else knows what's going on.
and I really liked that scene because Jason didn't take his side and was like, I'm not going to be the one to say it, but I think you should tell Carly. Like, you guys have been through so much. And then Jason, after Sonny's like, no, I'm not going to do it, he's like, okay, I'm going to go hang out with my new best friend, Curtis.
Yeah, that's right. And I like that fine line where he did tell Sonny, it's like, I won't tell her, but if she asks me, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So just know that.
Well, and why would Sonny think that Jason would do that? Jason's loyalty has always been Michael, Carly, Sonny. You know, that's the thing, is he's always had more loyalty to them than even Sonny.
It's, man, this just, I'm hoping that this doesn't drag out. If I have to see one more, I just don't want to see one more recording of Nell getting Sonny to say this whole thing again. If I get one more of those, I'm like, please, stop it. Let's just play these things already.
And two, like people are pointing out, they're really annoyed that we didn't see the Nutcracker Ball. So we saw so many scenes of Nell creeping in the background. Simran brought that up. She's always in that. Or this or that. But we have an actual event, and we don't see any of that.
No. I mean, because they made up such a big deal that, like, Michael being willing to just put on a Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops. Like, whoa, that was outrageous. I can't believe you're really going to do this? And yet we see no reaction by anybody or just how the event plays out. No, it's all after the fact.
Yeah.
And I did like when Carly comes over to see how the tree's up and the lights and everything, and then she mentions to Nell about Michael wearing the Hawaiian shirt, and Sonny's like, "What?" And so we have to hear this whole story. He made it seem like it was like such an outrageous thing. What? What did he do? It's okay, Sonny. It's all right. He
just wore a Hawaiian shirt. Yeah. And it's like, that was actually kind of a cute scene. I'm like, why didn't we have more of Michael doing that and then Tracy judging him? That would have been funny.
Yes.
Like, and that was the whole thing. He's like, yeah, I'm a Quartermaine, but we never got those scenes. And I mean, why?
Yeah. I mean, and so the other thing that's still in the back burner that we haven't really figured out yet is that whole hospital drama too, and certainly how much Hayden's illness has kind of affected all that. And there doesn't seem to be, other than the meeting that they had last week, there really wasn't like that huge sense of urgency, like, oh my gosh, things are falling apart. We need to have it done now. It's all been like, well, Hayden's dying.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess the hospital stuff is going to be okay until she's done.
Yeah, and that's the confusing part of all this. Like we say, they're missing major things and have too much going on here, where it's like, this whole Hayden was supposed to pull the hospital out of bankruptcy thing, and it's the end of the year. Now, not the fiscal year, but still, it's just like, it was so urgent. But now that she's dying, we're not going to even talk about it?
Yeah. Whether it's just going to be she's immediately going to get that injection from Finn, immediately pop up Awaken Alert, and start immediately drafting some kind of great plan, and then march right into the meeting. Like, oh, within a span of like 5 hours, I was ready to go, and I've saved the day. Like, all right, sure, that's what's going to happen. But otherwise, like, I don't understand the pacing of the show.
No.
So as we're kind of wrapping up towards the end of this, why don't we take a look back? Is this going to be our last show of 2016?
Yeah.
Well, first, thanks everybody for. I mean, we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary a little bit, just a couple months back in September. So we loved having you guys be with us this whole year plus that we've been doing the show.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alexis, there in the booth, our the other member of our GH report team. But just woohoo! For you, feel free in the chat, like as we wrap up here, just moments that you really enjoyed in 2016. Best and worst moments. Feel free to chime away your thoughts about that in the chat. And Lacretia, anything come to mind about something you really enjoyed this season, or something that really drove you crazy this whole calendar year in GH?
Well, let's just say some of the new character additions are phenomenal. I really love Valentine. This guy, James Patrick Stewart, is perfect. Definitely love Matt Cohen coming in as Dr. Hot Priest. I'm hoping we're getting better storyline for him, but I feel that he's going to get sucked into the Liz orbit, which usually doesn't wind up good for, good guys. And that's my only reservation there. They've got chemistry, so don't screw that up. And yeah, this year there was some good stuff, like Laura and Kevin, so the Cassadine Island stuff, the Nicholas and Ava. But my least favorite thing it's been the progression of Lulu. I'm like, she's a Spencer. Let's get her to shut up about babies.
Yeah, and it was interesting because when Laura at the hospital this week says, what I need you to do right now is I need you just to check all your Spencer tendencies and just, take care and caution of the way you handle all this. And I'm like, it would be great if, I guess with Valerie, kind of like the way she kind of spy all out of girl with Johnny Zakara, and how are you going to handle Valerie? I don't know if I've seen like Lulu's like Spencer tendencies really kind of flare up a lot.
Yeah, because on Cassadine Island we have that moment, but it was there was one moment.
Yes.
And then everything else was just like, okay, what? Yeah.
The moment she just walked in and did not shoot anybody right away and just put the gun down when Dante was going to be like possibly shot. I'm like, all right. So much for all this, Lulu. That because it seemed like such a hero moment when she had that epiphany. That I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna go back and save the day. No, cut to here's the gun. Sorry, guys. Come on, stop doing this. For me, I guess moments I did like the Nicholas and Ava stuff, especially after the whole Hayden Nicholas drama. It was just nice to see him in a different dynamic, and he's certainly a different actor playing it, Nicholas Sabine, for the majority of that. Other than the one episode that we got to see, like a little potential that was between Ava and Nicholas with Tyler Christopher. But with him kind of, at least for the time being off the canvas, that it disappoints me that we didn't get to see where that was going to go. So it's a mixture of like something I really enjoyed and a disappointment and what could have been.
Yeah, because, same thing like the Franco and Liz storyline. To me, that's really sort of revamped the Liz character, which, before that, I really crapped on a lot. But I like this for her, but now what's it doing to Franco? There's several things where you're like, I like this part, but this part really sucks. Yeah. Yeah,
and things that disappoint me that I haven't been a fan of this show, and we've talked about it a lot, is just the way they've handled characters that they've introduced, and just like because again, they're writing, they don't have the full character arcs at least planned out. They're just kind of changing things on the fly. So when you look at characters like Paul Hornsby, or Valentine, the way that he was brought in with such a murderous fashion, but now they're trying to dial it back, and it makes the audience so unwilling to completely buy into him, because you just saw the first thing he did on the show is that he shot Nicholas.
Yeah, and which we like Nicholas, so that was upsetting. But like with Paul, he killed Sloane, it was kind of squirrely, and then he shot Sonny, so it was like, well, I can get over that. And then they had to make him a murderer, and you're like, no.
Considering the fact, so they kind of at least hint that why he did it for Sloane, but we never got to see the whole reason that he shot Sonny. We never saw any of that.
Yeah, they never explained it, and I know that seems to be the general consensus among the chat too, is that the pacing has been off, and it's very clear that they drop storylines like a hot potato. Like, yeah, let's try to have a little bit more balance next year and go have a plan.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's certainly the one thing that it's been nice about having this sprawling cast is the sense that at least you can get some of those more legacy characters in the mix for a day or two occasionally. But then I also think that maybe that makes it tough for the writers to really write stories, because when everybody's not really like under contract, they're just kind of coming in as needed. When they start booking things on their own other interests, it's tough to get them like Lucas. We can't get Lucas on the show because Ryan Carnes is busy booking things like that. So having that big sprawling cast in this case kind of makes it tough to tell coherent stories and not being able to kind of tell it the way you want to, not have to worry about shifting gears because actors are suddenly unavailable. And now you've got to like totally rewrite a story because now you're like, well, I don't have this character now, so what can I do? Oh, I'll make him the hospital killer instead. Great.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe with a smaller cast, I mean, you'd lose. I guess you may lose access to having more of the legacy characters if you dial the cast back into a smaller handful. But you may at least be able to tell you if you put them all under contract, then they'd be yours, and you wouldn't have to worry about people being cast on other productions and their other outside interests dictating their availability for the show.
Yeah, and two, I mean, if they did a better job of maybe having foresight and what's going to be coming, these people could maybe work that out in their schedule with their agents and managers and stuff like that. And I think that's the thing, is they don't really think of too far ahead and think about how many actors you have involved in things that do other stuff. I mean, Matt Cohen, is going to be on the new Criminal Minds Beyond Borders, a big role. He's been on Supernatural, does a lot of like supernatural stuff, so we don't always have him. Or like Rick Hurst has moved to Atlanta. But we'd really rather see Rick on General Hospital,
and as much as I like great introductions of characters. Certainly having Curtis now on the canvas a lot more frequently has been great. Finn's been a nice addition. I mean, Michael Easton's probably been, other than John McBain, which, oof, man, that's, I'm so bummed that we lost that role with the whole Prospect Park stuff. But
he could play both now.
That's
now
true.
That it's done.
That would be phenomenal. I would take that. I would be willing to buy that one. Like, all right, we just happen to look like each other, but I'm a cop, you're a doctor.
And see, he's the only good cop other than Anna Devane.
Yes. That's why he was such a nice shot in the arm when he did come on to GH. I'm like, finally, we just get like somebody that's like, not going to be a dum-dum in law enforcement. But him coming back here, Silas was a character that never really gelled well with the writers. And I feel like Michael Easton, didn't, it's only at the end. There couldn't have been much joy playing that role.
Yeah, to me, the best they had for Silas was at the end with Ava. And it's just like, man, that was so good. But why did we not stick with that? Or why was that not discussed in the beginning? Because they had such great chemistry,
Yeah, but Finn has been that character, other than like this, my reluctance to like really dragging out this illness.
Yeah.
But illness aside, that character's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a fun, interesting new character that we don't normally see. And he's also a doctor, which makes it more General Hospital. And that's one thing I've liked, is they've been pushing away from the mob and getting back into hospital stuff.
Yeah, now if we just get the ELQ stuff balanced out, you've got players that are ready to make that happen. Let's just start doing that. So as we come to the end here, one quick hope that you have for 2017 in terms of GH?
I think I'd like to see the Nathan's dad explained and, maybe sort of get him some better storyline, whether he's a Cassadine like we always expected, or just have him in more scenes with his mother, Anna, just stuff other than just being eye candy with Maxie in the wedding. It's like, Ryan's a great actor. Let's see some more of that.
Yeah, I do not. Please put a kibosh on this. Maxie needs to know what Nathan's surprise is. Story that's like doing nobody any good.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's have Nathan back on the case doing something, not sitting there at his desk because he's hurt his back because Maxie pushed him down on the floor too hard. That is not the best use as Nathan as a cop. For me, it's it's a hope. I want to see something more exciting happening with Curtis and Jason, getting them more integrated together.
Yeah.
And just figure out. I'd love to see a way for Nicholas to get back on the show.
I do too. Tyler still does fan events and stuff like that, so I think the door is always open. We'll see if they can work that out.
Because with Ava, I feel like she needs something else. I mean, certainly the Ava Scotty Baldwins have been great, but those are just like nice little accents. You feel like you also need something else for Ava to be doing as well.
Yeah, I feel that with Olivia coming back, that's going to be interesting for Ava, but from what I understand, it's not going to be long term. So, like, what is after that?
What is Ava's and Olivia's kind of relationship?
See, Ava didn't come into the family till later, so she's never met her.
Oh, interesting. Oh, and this would be kind of cool to see what Maura West does with all this stuff. It should be fun. Because it'd be nice to see, because when Ava is more of like a protective mode, like protective mother, protective sister kind of mode, kind of interesting, a different shade of that character.
Yeah, I like her relationship with Julian, what is it is now. Like, it's good that she wants to be there for Julian, because no one else really likes him. It's funny.
Very true. So, folks, that brings us to the end of the last GH report for 2016. How this year has flown by.
Yeah.
But as I said at the beginning, we did it. We made it through another year. But folks, thank you so much for watching us. Thanks so much for joining us for the show. We've got a lot of great guests and so many fun things in store for 2017. We look forward to sharing that with you. We will be back January 8th, 2017. Look at that. So until then, folks, as always, you can like us on Facebook. Be that Facebook Santa. Give us those likes to get us ever closer to 2,000 Facebook likes on our page. Great. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. And if you want to continue the conversation with us during this little winter hiatus where we'll be taking a little time off here from the show, but still watching GH, still having thoughts and opinions about it. So if you want to share those with us or ask us questions, Lacretia, where can they find you?
You guys can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one.
And you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. I know I was having a Twitter conversation with a fan of the show earlier this week by saying, Frank, you should just do some kind of rants during this downtime from GH. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I maybe on Periscope, maybe on something that during this our downtime here, I'll hop on and do a quick little mini rant about the GH episodes that are airing during our winter hiatus. But thanks again for everybody. We'll see you back here January 8th. James Lott Jr., stay warm. And all of us will see you back here January 8th here on AfterBuzz TV for another edition of the 2017 GH Report.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.